Once this all begins to sink in, it can take your breath away, and so the first question we often ask ourselves is, am I nuts? Am I just seeing things? For those who feel this way, you're not nuts and you're not seeing things. What's happening is that the blinders are coming off. When that happens, the first thing we all see is the realization that in 2012, Americans will be burying their dead as their forefathers did during the American Civil War. By the thousands, by the tens of thousands. But that was then, and at that time our government was far less capable of dealing with tragedies like this. After all, times change, don't they? We would all like to think that our governments can save all of us, but let's be practical. There are simply not enough resources to save everyone. In fact, most will be left to fend for themselves because our governments will have a higher agenda, that being to ensure the survival of our species. This is because our single greatest threat from Planet X will be the manner in which it interacts with our own sun. As Planet X approaches its closest point to the Sun, a violent cosmic duel will ensue, and it will last for many months. When that happens, our beautiful blue-green planet will be slammed by numerous perfect solar storms and cosmic lightning. In the Colburn Bible, the ancient Egyptians warn us that we will be so stricken with fear that women will become barren and men will become impotent. That is why our governments are doing the right things right now and as quickly as possible. Industrialized governments all across the globe are working feverishly to launch a vast fleet of solar observatories into space between now and 2008. A first-ever human undertaking with a sense of urgency that has not been seen since the early days of the Mercury program. Many of these satellites are already operational, and they will help our governments to sound the alarm in time for us to seek shelter from the deadly radiation of violent solar storms. Our governments are also utilizing every available spacecraft, and the operational status of older spacecraft such as the Hubble Space Telescope and the SOHO Solar Observatory have been extended far beyond their originally planned mission lifespans. Still the same, these assets are vulnerable to violent storms as well. Fortunately, our governments have a plan B. In early 2007, the South Pole Telescope at the U.S. Amundsen-Scott South Pole Station became operational. America spent huge sums to deploy this massive infrared telescope in Antarctica. In terms of tracking the southerly approach of Planet X from beneath the plane of our solar system, it is the perfect instrument at the perfect place and at the perfect time. Eventually the time will come when those chosen to survive the coming cataclysm by our governments are spirited away into vast networks of subsea and subterranean survival arcs. So who will they be? There are the obvious choices such as the military and those with political connections. Their primary role will be to help our government ensure its own continuity. A second goal, and equally urgent, will be the survival of our species. That need demands special survival profiles. Obvious survival profiles will be those of physicians and caregivers. They will become far more important to our governments than the patients they treat. To help us rebuild our world after Planet X passes, we'll need a next generation of intelligent, educated professionals and scientists of healthy breeding age. Most of these will not know they've been chosen until they are taken away from their loved ones. There will not be enough room nor resources to keep both them and their parents and grandparents alive. As painful as the separations will be, those who watch their loved ones being taken away will feel a genuine gladness in their hearts. Meanwhile, those chosen will come to feel the weighty burden of a new and profound responsibility. The brave ones will accept it. For those left to fend for ourselves, it will be panic as usual. In 2012, we'll learn that rigid thinkers become fragile survivors. Quickly overcome by events, they will be amongst the first to surrender to whatever fate has in store. Those who think that the ensuing chaos will afford them the perfect opportunity to create mayhem will be in for a very dramatic surprise. America's military might will be recalled from overseas posts and retasked to the business of maintaining martial law throughout the nation. Those who are accustomed to manipulating the legal system will find themselves in a new kind of system, one in which those who choose to act irresponsibly will be met with immediate and, in some cases, brutal consequences. It will have to be that way. Many will pack their belongings and whatever supplies they have at hand and flee urban centers. That is, for as long as they can drive before the roads become impassable due to traffic congestion and natural catastrophes. There will be no guarantees for those chosen by their governments to survive, as well as for those left to fend for themselves. But there will be those who are prepared. They will plan their routes to safe havens long before the early signs of crisis become undeniable. Then, when the time comes, they will be prepared, and they will know how to act calmly and quickly. As they make their way to safety, they will join with like-minded others and form small survival groups, where service to others is the rule and not the exception. They'll understand that surviving Planet X in 2012 is less about what is in your bunker and more about what is in your heart. As Louis Pasteur so aptly put it, chance favors the prepared mind. To help you make the best of your chances, Planet X Forecast and 2012 Survival Guide offers practical strategies and useful how-to information. For those who shall walk this path, it has one singular goal: to help you get through the difficult years ahead. Eventually, Planet X will leave us in peace once again, and the steadfast few who have survived through a philosophy of service to others shall arise from the ruins. They will embrace this new future with humility, compassion, tolerance, and above all, love. For in the fullness of time, they shall bear witness to the marvelous rebirth of our world. And what will that look like?